Hey guys, Matt here from Seeds of Awareness. Today I have a really exciting interview with Ryan Creed, a good friend and co-founder of a company called Lifecycle. This company is a big driver and pusher in the movement called the blue economy. Blue economy. It's the first time I've ever heard of this, but it's awesome. It's where they're basically turning recyclables or non-recyclables into recyclable stuff. Is that right? You tell me how.
Yeah, using waste products to monetize and to build a business model around reusing things that would otherwise have not been used, and has a lot of value still to be created for the world.
Yep. And we know that recycling and the impact certain things are having on the environment is coming into public awareness more and more, and that's why Lifecycle is a company that is really driving sustainability, recycling, and some of the methods and some of the solutions they've come up with based around specifically around mushrooms, and growing mushrooms out of coffee beans is one sort of ingenious kind of solution that they've come up with. So this interview is going to be covering a wide array of topics. We're going to be centered around the power of mushrooms, something sort of just come into my awareness over the last year. The amount of versatility mushrooms have for providing solutions to a ridiculous amount of issues that we see in our world. And it's really inspiring what Ryan and his co-founder Julian are doing, because they're just two guys who have just decided to really take charge and actually take some action and put some of their ideas into practicality, and that's where sort of Lifecycle spawned from. So it is very inspiring. They're out there doing the work. So we'd love to, looking forward to hearing a lot more about it. So can you please start with your backstory, how you sort of became passionate about what you guys are doing with Lifecycle?
Definitely, yeah. Julian and I were very dissatisfied with the way that society was accessing fresh food. Basically, the traditional method of going to the supermarket to get your groceries was an issue in our mind, because people were no longer connected to where that food come from, what chemicals were used on it. The taste profile was lackluster, and we wanted to enable people to grow their own. Mm-hmm. And that was a big driver between why we started out with the simple mushroom kits. Simply spray water, put on your kitchen bench, connect to nature, connect to mushrooms, watch them grow before your eyes, and take satisfaction in the life journey of your food. Mm-hmm. That was the really big driver. And we started off with no intention for that to be mushrooms particularly, because we just wanted the product that was easy to grow, that anyone could do, no matter if you lived in an apartment or if you had a backyard. Mm-hmm. From that moment on, our research really delved into all the medicinal benefits, the sustainable benefits, the social benefits associated with mushrooms that could come from this. And like you mentioned, applications are endless, absolutely endless with mushrooms.
Yep.
I can give you a brief on a short brief on where we can touch into, but sustainable clothing, removing waste from landfill, reducing meat consumption.
Yep.
The animal health, immune benefits for animals to consume mushroom extracts. Building materials made from mushroom mycelium. Mm-hmm. It goes on and on.
We'll get more into all that, because it is a topic that I'm also very passionate about. Like, what you can't help but not be passionate about it once you realize what a superorganism mushrooms are. Like, we sort of have not really any idea of what a powerful organism they are. But sort of going back to what Lifecycle's initiating, and you call it the blue economy, is that right?
The blue economy is something that Gunter Pauli started roughly 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Wrote a book about using waste products to create new value. Mm-hmm. Why should we throw out things that we can upcycle? Yep. And of course, for it to be successful, you need to make it monetary as well. Mm-hmm. You need it to be sustainable. Yep. To build jobs in the world we live in, where that's what makes the world goes around.
And so you guys have specifically found that coffee, you've sort of targeted coffee, used coffee grinds of beans, and you found that you can actually grow mushrooms from that. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
And so you've put that in a box, and I've used it myself. It's incredible. It comes with a box, and basically you just spray it with water, and mushrooms start growing out of it. But like amazing, fresh, delicious mushrooms, and like the rate of growth is what startled me. Like I thought they were going to start taking over my bloody house. After a week, they were growing so fast. And they were delicious. I think we had an oyster mushrooms box.
Yeah.
And that's also the concept of urban farming, isn't it? So like being able to actually grow your own food in the kitchen and build that connection with food. But how did you guys isolate that coffee beans could be used, and why is it important to recycle them?
Well, if we look where our populations are built in the cities, look where everyone's concentrated, what resources do we have? An abundance of cafes, an abundance of this nutrient-rich waste. Like only 1% of that coffee bean ends up in the coffee you drink.
Yeah.
The rest of it goes to landfill. It's full of nitrogen, full of calcium.
And that's what mushrooms need.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you know, oyster mushrooms particularly are the ones that we can grow well off coffee grounds. Not every mushroom will grow off coffee grounds. But fortunately, the really healthy ones, like oyster mushrooms and reishi mushrooms, lion's mane, are ones that we can grow from that waste period. So then, from that waste substrate. So then, when we're in the cities and we're building these urban farms, the growing substrate's easily accessible. The consumers are close by. We're reducing food miles. We're creating jobs in the spaces where we're living, and not really requiring much energy input from electricity or water. And it just ticked all those boxes.
And so these urban farms you talk about, so you're basically just turning shipping containers into kind of like produce stores, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Another example of using a waste product. I mean, we started in Fremantle in West Australia with an abundance of shipping containers. And they're insulated, so they provide the environment that you can control quite well. You want to simulate the forest floor environment where the mushrooms would grow.
So like right humidity and stuff like that, and temperature.
Yeah.
And so how many of those have like are around the place? Because like this is a new concept to me as well. Like I haven't actually seen one, but it's an amazing concept that you can most people think that you need a certain amount of land or whatever to sort of grow foods, but obviously that's not practical for a lot of people living in the city. So you're recycling shipping containers as one, but then you're recycling the coffee grinds and whatever else you use in there, and you're allowing people to create a commodity. Like people who get one of these farms can create their own produce and either sell that, monetize it, or trade that. I know you guys were sort of doing on that ABC landline video. You guys were trading mushrooms for coffee grinds with cafes, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were selling the mushrooms.
Oh, you're selling them.
So, I mean, we're essentially, in the process of collecting the coffee waste, we are doing the cafe or restaurant a favour because they would otherwise be paying for that to be collected.
Yeah, right.
Doing them a favour and taking their waste, but also then selling the mushrooms back to them to make it a viable business model. Of course, you'd need to do that. But demonstrating the circular economy in action, like actually living the circular economy, and the consumers are very, it touched their heart, like they're eating food they knew that it was grown within a kilometre radius of, from the restaurants are all over that story, and so the consumers. The 40-foot sea containers are a really good commercial model for these for people to build a great income from, where they can grow up to 200 kilos a week. We started off with the shipping container. We have five farms in Australia using that model, but we now have created the shroom room off the back of the popularity for people to want to become a grower. And this is suitable for people who are already working or want to work part-time. And there's a variety of scales of mushrooms you can grow for your community in a 3x3 metre space, only the size of a garden shed. Looks beautiful. Similar to the way that Flowhive have revolutionised beekeeping. With the turnkey solution, no fuss. We provide the simple shroom room setup where you just plug it in, play. And we do all the coffee collection and incubation. Send out ready to grow bags to the growers across Australia to install into their shed and grow up to 40 kilograms of mushrooms a week.
Wow. And so how do people actually get one of these urban farms?
Yeah, we offer the packages on our website.
Okay.
But once it's been, you apply because we want to partner with people that are committed to it and are going to not cross anyone's territories, because 40 kilograms of mushrooms could service 5 to 10, even up to 15 cafes a week with produce.
And you know they're going to grow that because you're controlling the environment in there, is that right?
We're controlling the substrate.
Yep.
That is through all of our research and development have created the right ratios of growing substrate to create the best mushrooms.
Yep.
And we have set up the sheds with all our intellectual property so that it's simple.
Yep.
Just so simple. You open them up, the humidifiers are doing their thing, and the mushrooms grow out. You come home from work, harvest them, and either drop them to your neighbour next door or deliver them to the restaurant down the road, whatever you decide to do with your produce.
So it really is a turnkey system. So the way I'm seeing this is like, it's giving people who are passionate about this space a tangible, in terms of passionate about environmental sustainability and recycling and stuff like that, actually a tangible solution that they can get involved in and monetize it. And that comes back to the name of your company, Life Cycle. And you guys have spelt it a bit differently, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Spelled it the way the Swedes spell it.
Oh, okay.
Very inspired by the way, in Scandinavia they have the value sustainability first priority and are leading the world, and we're inspired by that.
Okay, so you've named it in homage to the Swedes. Well done, Swedes. And so that cycle of life is, I guess, what you're trying to bring back to the community, which is something, we talk a lot about here at Seeds of Awareness. We sort of call it wholeness, the wholeness of nature, and how everything has its place in nature, everything has a balance. Everything in nature is recycled. Nothing's wasted, is it? Like in a forest, I'm just reading this book right now called The Hidden Life of Trees, and it's remarkable. Like literally nothing, not a square inch of space, no dead matter, no living matter, nothing in nature is wasted. Yet here come along humans, and we build these sprawling cities, and we build our machinery, and we take from nature what we need, or we clear nature if it's in the way, and we use the vital resources out of the ground, we put them into machines which pump pollution in the air. We exploit animals beyond what I think most people would agree is our right to do so, killing them without respect, using every whatever. Even our food we've been disconnected from majorly. Like there's no relationship with the plants anymore, which probably our tribal ancestors definitely would have had. It's just we go to the supermarket, we don't know where it's been grown, we don't know how long it's been sitting there, we just grab it and don't think about it and eat it. It's just we've really disconnected ourselves from the cycle of life, haven't we? In every way. And cities are probably the epitome of like the height of the pinnacle, that's the word I'm looking for, of that disconnect, because it's just a concrete jungle. We've replaced a real jungle with a concrete jungle, and it's anti-life in so many ways. It doesn't even allow grass to grow on the road, or it wouldn't even allow a bit of moss to grow in a building. Like it's just it bores nature. And so you guys are, I think trying to reconnect with that cycle is really, really crucial, because the way humans have disconnected from it, we've pushed the delicate ecosystems of this planet to their brink, haven't we? Like with the way we've treated the oceans, every part of this planet, we've just plundered it to its absolute depths. And so that's why I love what you guys are doing, because it's that focus on reharmonizing, bringing us back into that cycle of life, but starting from a really practical place. How can we just give, because you can't, it's going to take a long time to re-educate and all this sort of stuff, so give people really, really practical solutions. And that's what I think those urban farms, it starts with growing it in our kitchen, which you guys provide, and you guys provide these urban farms. Is that sort of like one of the driving motivating forces behind you, just to give people access to that reconnection to the cycle of life?
We value so much the emotions that are sparked from growing food and the connections to that. I guess a good way to put it is like the way society is becoming more robotic, some people have never ever grown their own food.
Yeah.
And this is something for, you know, if you look back 100 years ago and before 100 years ago, everybody is providing their own food. And then in the last period of time, some people haven't had that experience and don't even understand why it would be good. And our feedback is always, for the people that grow mushrooms in our mushroom boxes, we say, what's the best? The flavor, the nutritional benefits. Like, it's always the experience of growing your own mushrooms.
Yep.
And, you know, I think most people wouldn't have even predicted that before they did it.
Yeah.
Because there's something about the way it tastes, the way you've had an attachment to it when it's food you've grown yourself. So we're really very satisfied we can enable people that feeling again, which often sparks them to then go out and start planting a fruit tree, or goes out and sees food in different light and starts to ask questions about where it come from, looking at ingredient lists and understanding the importance of transparency.
And it's such a good point you made there, because like that connection that we've lost to food is something that most people don't even know they've lost, isn't it? So it's something that, like, when you first get that taste of something you've actually grown and you've put your love into and you've sort of built a relationship with, it's kind of like, wow, I had no idea that was missing in my life. And so I guess you guys are seeing those results, that when you give people a taste of it, literally, they sort of, it sparks that enthusiasm to want to reconnect even more.
You see the sparkle in their eyes. Like, the feedback that we get is just unbelievable. And we do work with schools, so we enable kids to grow their own mushrooms and replace chocolate for fundraisers and things like that. And then that is one of the most rewarding parts of the business, when you go to schools and talk to kids about the food they're growing, and they go on and educate their parents often. And it's a flow-on effect, and it's really good for the community, really good for society. To understand, in this modern world, we don't need to be living out in the acreage to be able to connect to growing food.
And it is like, because since moving up, we're in Byron Bay here, and since moving here, I've been eating a lot more local produce, because there's a lot more farms around, and actually going to those farms and eating bananas that were literally grown like 200 meters away. And because up here, what a lot of the farmers do is they put these like sheds out the front of their farms, and it's by donation. So you go there and, like, you know, it's an honesty system. So they'll say, oh, like, we'd appreciate if you give us this amount of money, but there's no one there actually like demanding the money.
It's so rewarding, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when I first moved up to Byron and went out on a journey with Matthew, and we went and found the custard apples, and I was like, you know, like that experience of eating custard apples, that you could see the trees from where they grew from over the fence, that you were putting money into the box. It was such an efficient system and such a rewarding journey to go and source this food that our ancestors did twice a day back in the day.
And the fulfillment, the satiation and fulfillment you get when you've eaten something grown locally, grown with love, you know, kind of like given to you in that. I love that honesty system, like them just trusting you to sort of like pay back your gratitude. And so I've been able to experience that a lot up here, eating like locally grown avocados, locally grown custard apples, and like in season, like really good foods, locally grown bananas, figs, all these sort of things, pineapples. And my God, like the difference in taste, the difference in pleasure and satiation in your body that you get, rather than a food grown, 2,000 kilometers away and
frozen,
because we forget that a lot of these fruits, a lot of these vegetables and meats and everything, they're picked and harvested like weeks, sometimes possibly even longer, before you actually eat them. The ripening process is deliberately halted by putting them in dark sheds, pumping them with gases that stop it.
One thing I'll put a challenge to anyone is like to try this out. If you've got a lemon tree, pick a lemon straight off the tree and then put it in water and drink it, or, you know, drip some in your mouth, or an orange citrus, citrus. Eat the orange immediately after pick it, and then compare that to even 5 minutes after you've picked it. The flavour is completely different, even in that 5 minute period that you've done from picking it. Because the vitamin C levels must be different, or I don't know, but there's the flavours you can taste. So think about the food that's been frozen and then transported and then eaten.
Well, exactly, and like, because when you think about in nature, a fruit is meant to ripen on the tree to the very last second until you pick it, unless maybe it's fallen to the ground and you pick it off the ground, and probably not long after. And surely that ripening process on the tree, with being receiving sunlight, is a crucial part of it. And so what we've done in our modern society is we've handballed over the control of our food supply to major corporations. And we've completely been disconnected from growing ourselves, because we're told the only role you need to play in society is to go make money. And so people, we don't have time to grow our own food. We don't have time to make that connection. But it's kind of sad, because we forget how nice that relationship to nature is, and for foods that are actually ripened and grown like close by. And it's the same with your mushrooms. I remember, I'm not a huge mushroom fan, like I haven't always been a massive mushroom fan, but when I tasted your mushrooms, it was the freshness, and like I was like, even watching them grow, like I'd kind of like get hungry looking at them. I never get to feel that way when I look at mushrooms in the supermarket. And so I think that I love that that's a driving factor with Life Cykel, is that it's helping people get a connection back, because as I said, we've given up control of our food to corporations, but at what cost? The cost of the freshness. We don't know what they're spraying on them. Well, we do. They're spraying loads of chemicals that are dangerous for us. Unless you're eating organic, we don't know when they were harvested, and like all sorts of things.
Putting a lot of a large load on the liver. Extremely large load. Our system is constantly battling all these outside inputs of what air we're breathing in, what chemicals we're eating, what stress we're going through from being so in our rational mind, and what mushrooms can offer is preventative medicine. A large, diverse range of properties in medicinal mushrooms will prepare your immune system for all these things that are coming at you. Whereas modern day medicine that are made in labs have one component that's going to focus to help your health. Like a Panadol is limited with side effects. Cough medicine or whatever it may be. The mushroom can put up a shield going into winter before viruses are coming to attack. And all the fresh food that we spoke of that we used to eat in the way we used to eat it in organic ways. So we're putting ourselves at loss of nutrients by eating food that's not fresh, but we're also putting ourselves on dependence of Band-Aid pharmaceuticals. Instead of the preventative approach of eating fresh food with high polysaccharide counts that we can particularly grow with intention to protect our bodies for longevity, for performance, on an athletic sense, in a work sense, for mental function, for empathy. It's incredible. It's incredible, the superpowers of mushroom.
Let's explore that a little bit more, the medicinal qualities of mushroom, because I know that you've told me that they can replace leather, like animal leather. We know like medicines, like is it penicillin that came from mushrooms? We know that already, like with your guys, what you guys are doing, you're providing solutions to recycling. You're providing potential job opportunities for people, and building that reconnection back to food that we're talking about, and back to nature. But then there's all sorts of different mushrooms that offer all these amazing benefits. I, for one, regularly use lion's mane. I know that it produces neurogenesis, isn't it? Like the growth of new nerve cells in the body and neural pathways.
Absolutely.
And that can be like preventative for Alzheimer's and stuff like that. There's psilocybin mushrooms, which I'd love to talk about in a bit. Not sure how much you guys can talk about it, but I can definitely talk about it. I've used psilocybin magic mushrooms medicinally in the past, and I've actually got a video on that that you can check out. But I've had major benefits from that, and I know that that's being researched heavily and as a potential. I think it's looking to go legal soon. So what are some other mushrooms that I need to know about? I need to get in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, the cornerstone of consuming oyster mushrooms in your daily meals is where we started, and where it makes such a difference to be eating protein sources, iron sources, really high in B vitamins, from chemical-free mushrooms that are not harming the environment, and offering a great supply. That's the cornerstone, and often supporting the local farmers that are growing them.
Yep.
I mean, because those farmers are able to connect to meaningful relationships in the community. That's where we start. But when we get into details of really taking a targeted approach on our health for, like I mentioned, longevity, preventing illness, performance, we can delve into the specific superpowers of medicinal mushrooms, which we are really excited to also grow from waste. So I brought a few along to show you as well.
I'd love to see them.
So we've got some reishi mushroom here. Woo! So you can see quite woody. So quite
Are these all reishi?
Yeah, they're all reishi.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Reishi mushroom.
You guys have grown these
Yeah.
from coffee grants.
Yeah.
So these have been dried out as well.
Well, reishi mushroom is quite a woody texture.
This is its natural state.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, to access the health properties, you need to boil them.
While they can see them.
Yeah. To extract the active compounds out of these, you need to boil them and extract it with hot water. And we also use an alcohol to extract. So then we can get them absorbable by the human body. If you want to hold that. So, and then we end up with this.
Right.
Yeah. Now you can.
That's a liquid.
It's a liquid liquid extract of reishi mushroom.
Yep.
Reishi mushroom calms the immune system. So when you've got autoimmune diseases, asthma, eczema, for example, your immune system's attacking itself. It's like, what are these foreign particles in my body? I'm just like going to hit them up, and then like cause rashes and allergies and things like that. So reishi mushroom calms the immune system down. It's an adaptogen, so it senses this action and says, calm down. And in the cases when you're getting sick, it'll actually boost it up. So it's like it has its mind of its own in some sense.
Yep.
But yeah, we're able to extract it. I mean, in this case,
Do you guys sell this?
Yeah, this is on the coming online. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So then we created tincture. Would you like to try some?
I would. I'd love to. How do I do it?
Just under the tongue.
Okay. All right. So
So you can
it's
take
a drop of concentrated reishi mushroom I'm having here, is it?
Yeah. You can take it all. Yeah. You can hold it under the tongue for 20 seconds, like feel the flavors and let
it's
it
like
absorb.
minty or something.
We've also added a lemon myrtle.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah. So anti-inflammatory properties of lemon myrtle as well.
Wow, I'm boosted. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so you guys also have a range of, like you call it the magic range, yeah? It's like a range of powders?
Yeah.
That's where the lion's mane I use is your product.
Okay. Yeah, this Lion's Mane will really help you with your focus and brain performance.
Yeah.
We're very dedicated to bringing medicinal properties of mushrooms to mainstream society. So we don't expect people to go out there and change all their habits and try to learn the intricacies of this. But people are busy enough.
Yep.
So if you consume coffee, if you consume hot chocolates, and these kind of smoothie drinks also, then you can get life cycle mushroom coffee, life cycle mushroom hot chocolates.
Yep.
Which taste delicious, don't require any behavior change, but have these health benefits of mushrooms in them. And we've had a really good success at converting people into protecting their immune systems, balancing their alkaline acid balance. Chaga mushroom is the most alkaline food in the world, which we put in coffee.
And then coffee's one of the most acidic, so it's a really nice balance for that, isn't it?
That's right. So, fine, coffee's not the worst food in the world, but if you can add chaga, you're getting the alkaline balance, you're getting the antioxidant to 5 cups of blueberries per serve.
In chaga?
Chaga is phenomenally high in antioxidants.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just to cut in there, the lion's mane, I gave a few of my friends and all of my family a tub of the lion's mane product you guys have. one, because I was couldn't think of any other Christmas presents, but also like I knew I'd be giving them health. But one thing I didn't expect was how enthusiastic everyone got from it. Like, because all they had to do was add a scoop of this lion's mane in their morning coffee, and I gave them a bit of research about how it's, you know, boosts brain focus and could prevent Alzheimer's, and it's the only mushroom apart from psilocybin mushroom that can create new neural pathways in the nervous system, which is incredible. And my brother and mum in particular, have just raved about it. They absolutely love it. So they notice like benefits after like 2 days.
That's amazing. And we hear those stories, news stories all the time like that.
Yeah.
And it's because, you know, the research has been, there's a lot of more research to be done, because there's no interest to pharmaceuticals to do research into medicinal mushrooms, because they can't patent. They can't patent natural substrates. So we had a customer who was, she has children with autism, 3. She's been giving them lion's mane mushroom powder, and they've had behavioural changes for the positive that have been exponential. Taking them out to social gatherings where they've been able to stay longer, greater focus. So these kind of anecdotes are coming up, which builds support for more studies to be done on this. There's a lot of untapped benefits that just because the society hasn't had the right interest in it. So it's incredible. It's so thrilling to be able to change people's lives.
And what else have you got in here? That looks interesting.
I got a few goodies.
Wow. Is that the leather?
It's mushroom leather. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Like I mentioned, the applications are endless.
What?
And
this is actually incredible.
To
this feels and looks exactly like, especially this one. This looks like leather. This looks like animal leather to me. Oh my god!
Maybe it's the surface.
So this is
texture.
how is this made? Like, this is, just to give you an idea, like this is really strong and really, but also like more flimsy and flexible than normal leather.
I mean, we're really focused on
it smells like leather. What? It smells like leather. Sorry.
I have to get,
This is the first time I've seen this. This is blowing me away.
We'll have to get a partnership with the AFL and get the Sharons.
I know. Think of all the things that like we exploit animals for, making footballs, making couches, making clothing, that could be replaced by a plant-based, eco-friendly method that, in my opinion, is excellent. It's like just as good.
It's so good. I mean, our biotechnology team, like our team of scientists and microbiologists, mycologists, have been spending extensive time in the labs, like to develop this.
So you guys have developed these? Wow.
And you know, we're working with some fashion labels and things like that to get some great looking clothing going.
Amazing.
Because most importantly, people aren't going to adopt something just because it's eco-friendly. It has to be functional, appealing, and being able to match what they previously had.
Exactly.
So we're so excited for Mushroom Leather to do that.
Wow, this is incredible. This is blowing me away. So, mushrooms, like you guys have really centered your, is this another bit of leather?
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys have really centered your business around a superorganism, and that's probably like the real breakthrough I had listening to Paul Stamets interview with Joe Rogan, this mycologist who's like the world's leading mushroom expert. This dude's passion is just ridiculous. And he talks about mushrooms not... Most of us just think it's like this kind of weird fungi, or we'd never even think about it because it's not something we're grown up really being educated about. But mushrooms are actually the most ancient, advanced, like adaptable superorganism on this planet. And in fact, the largest, they exist as mycelium networks under the ground. And the largest mycelium network is one that spans 3.8 kilometers in the Blue Mountains in Oregon, which is the largest organism on this planet. And so what we see, the actual mushrooms that grow out the top, are just the fruits. That's just their reproductive organs, basically, so they can drop their spores. But it goes even deeper. This organism is not only just this crazy organism, but it's actually like the immune system of a forest. It's also like the internet of a forest. So in this book, The Secret Life of Plants, they call it the Wood Wide Web. And that actually the mycelium in the ground which has got like a mind-blowing amount of density. Like I can't remember the stats, but the amount of mycelium in the soil is like more than the neurons in a human nervous system or something like that. It's crazy. And so what happens is it combines or connects with the roots of the trees, and they form a relationship where the trees can all communicate to each other just as we all communicate with the internet. So that's why it's called the Wood Wide Web. But in return, the mycelium asks a repayment. So each tree gives about 1/3 of its yearly foods production from photosynthesis to the mycelium network. So they kind of really support each other. So the mycelium tells the trees, it basically keeps the forest healthy, and it also breaks down dead matter, and so it's this incredibly intelligent organism, and I think it's one of the oldest on the planet. It's dating back, they're finding fossils dating back 3.5 billion years, and they also believe humans split from fungi, I don't know how long ago, like 1 billion years ago. So we're actually more related to fungi genetically than fungi is to plants. And this guy, Paul Stamets, basically calls us a walking, talking, biomass of fungi. And we all now, new research is showing the role that the fungi, the gut bacteria in our gut plays on our overall health. So like it just keeps going deeper and deeper. Not only like not only all the uses of it, but also what we're learning about it. And Paul Stamets reckons that one day we're going to be able to interface and actually speak to this organism and communicate with it. So considering all this crazy information that's come out, why is so little spoken about it? Like, why do we know so little? Like, I never learned any of this stuff growing up about fungi.
Absolutely. I mean, the Chinese culture have been using medicinal mushrooms.
So it's more our Western culture that's been disconnected.
Our Western culture's been very disconnected from fungi.
Yeah.
You can speak to the Chinese about all the benefits of mushrooms that they've been using in ceremonies. Chinese, for example, would gift a medicinal mushroom as a present, for special occasions. It's how sacred the medicine is in them.
Yeah.
And the medicine, like you're touching on, the medicine is so rich and concentrated in mushrooms because mycelium extracts all the nutrients out of the trees and all the dead wood that they grow off. They're just sucking all that nutrient out of that into a concentrated small form. For then us to benefit from. But it's unspoken. It's an issue that it's unspoken, which is something we're very dedicated to bringing out education packs. So we're doing work with schools, workshops and things. There's a lot of detail to touch into why, but it's certainly one of them is the fact that natural products can't be patented.
Right.
So
in our economic obsessed system, there's just not enough benefit that can be derived from it.
Why would a pharmaceutical company put billions of dollars into trying to grow a natural product that everyone can compete with, as opposed to patenting one drug that no one else can replicate and they can change the face of the way people consume it?
Well, we'd like to think they do it for the health of humanity, but that's wishful thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's the world we live in, isn't it? Chemicals, quick fix, mushrooms are intricate. They have a variety of benefits. It's a whole topic in itself.
Well, but also like human cultures have all like. In terms of the psychedelic effects of magic mushrooms or psilocybin mushrooms, which I love Paul Stamets who talks about it. He gets really mad when people talk about it as a party drug or something like this, because to him, psilocybin mushrooms are a medicine. And that's how I approached it when I microdosed with psilocybin mushrooms. And one of the most remarkable things that I found in my experience was this sense that when I had it, that an intelligence that understood me and understood my body and my nervous system was working through me and working in harmony with me. And that was when and it helped sort of like heal me in a lot of ways. But it really did feel like an intelligence was in me. And then it was only after that I learned that they are in fact a very intelligent superorganism, but in fact humans and my fungi used to once come from the same genealogy, the same family. So they probably do know us very well. We're kind of like distant kind of cousins or something like that. Yeah. And so it also, I think I feel the same way when I'm having these other medicinal mushrooms. You obviously don't get the psychedelic effects, but you get the same healing benefits, especially I find from lion's mane. So it's kind of like we've disconnected ourselves from this beautiful relationship we had for so many billions of years, and it's like that connection is calling us back, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't ignore the studies that have been done in clinical studies for the reverse of depression, psilocybin, and the regeneration of nerve cells with lion's mane. And these are some famous studies that have been spoken of a lot. There's a vast variety of untapped benefits for us still to discover in a clinical sense that is then justified by Western culture. Everything else, most of everything else is anecdotal, cultural, long-standing. I mean, you only need to have some of this and feel calm.
I'm feeling good after that, by the way. I feel like I've been boosted since that.
And it can't be ignored. But it's understudied. Which is really exciting as the next generations come through and start to put their work into uncovering the truth, solving health issues, sustainability issues, and building a better world.
And I guess it's a little reboost for you. It's kind of like, it's also like, remember as kids playing Mario Kart and Super Mario Brothers, and you'd always get boosted by the mushrooms. So I feel like they were trying to tell us something. I guess it's a great opportunity for you guys, but I'm sure it's got its challenges, because you're, along with providing these amazing products and supporting this blue economy and giving people more opportunities and recycling, you've got to educate as well, because people won't get excited about something unless they understand how it works and why it's going to improve their life. So is that been one of the major challenges? But I've also noticed, before you answer that, I've also noticed you guys are constantly up and about. You guys seem super inspired about what you're doing, and you seem ready to take on any challenge that's going to come your way, and probably has come your way, which I think is crucial in business, because it takes perseverance, it takes being able to handle the setbacks and kind of like keep moving forward. Is this energy coming from a place because you believe so much in what you're doing?
We just take so much satisfaction out of enabling new lives for people. I mean, being able to see someone's eyes light up when they say, my life has changed because I consume lion's mane every day. And I feel like I haven't had a sick day for the last 6 months, and I'm more creative in my work. I'm more thankful in the relationships with my family. We've connected through growing our own mushrooms together. I've now got meaningful employment because I'm growing mushrooms for my community. I'm going to farmers markets and meeting new people because we're sharing and bartering food like the way that we used to.
Nice.
It's like, and these stories are popping up and surprising every day. Like, absolutely there's challenges, but you only fail when you give up. We're never going to give up. We're just so dedicated to it. And like, we have such a support network of team members that believe in how mushrooms can change the future. It's a real energizing journey. And to put that energy back into enabling new opportunities of living for people is the most rewarding.
And so like, what I'd love to know is like, what sort of sparked that passion? Like, I know for me, like with Seeds of Awareness, we're really inspired about planting seeds of awareness, bringing information like this out to the world, and hopefully planting positive seeds in the consciousness of people that can, grow when the conditions are right. But for me, I had to go through a lot of pain and struggle before I realized that providing service to others and helping others unconditionally was something that really gave me a lot of fulfillment. But before discovering that and knowing how to tap into that, and I'm still learning, I knew I had to go through this good 10-12 year period of being very ego focused, very self-focused, pursuing the vision of success that's kind of pummeled into us by our Western culture, which is, make money and get a house and just achieve, and it's all for you, and you don't care about nature and all this sort of stuff because you're so focused on what you want. And then out of the other side of that, like, you know, I even played professional sport, which is one of my childhood dreams, but it was all from this very self-focused lens I can see looking back. And the result of that, though, was that I got these material things that I was after, but then created all this inner pain.
Yeah.
I came out with an addiction. I had conflict and toxicity in relationships. You know, family, I wasn't as connected with my family. I wasn't as connected with my own body. I was, the addiction, like deeply addicted to sleeping pills because of anxiety I used to get at nighttime, and then the list goes on. And it was only through a process of coming back to my own true purpose, which is, you know, serving others, was I able to sort of start overcoming those things and dissolving the ego. Were there any sort of like, is there any story like that behind you that sort of, you know, is a real driver, like any pain, or were you just kind of like a bit of a saint as soon as you came in?